Welcome to Practically Everything. Today, let's create a light box for the 3D printer using some LED light strip, FreeCAD, some 5mm bolts, and a bit of PETG. Let's start by creating a new body in FreeCAD. Name it, then create a sketch on the XY plane. Create the rectangle and dimension it. We will be using 8 by 2.5mm LED strip. Close the sketch and extrude by 2mm. Next, select the bottom of the body and create a new sketch. Get the external projection and create a center line. Next, create a rectangle from the top line of the object. Dimension it and close the sketch. Extrude it by 16mm. This will be the pivot point for the light box. Reverse the extrusion so that it lies flat with the face of the body. Create a sketch on the side of the new face to create the hole for the bolt. Find the center point and create a hole slightly oversized for printing. We will be using a 5mm bolt. Close the sketch and make a hole. Create edge chamfers to neaten up the design and allow for the part to be able to hinge. Round the edges to remove sharp corners to make it easier to print. Add a 0.5mm chamfer to the holes to allow for clean printing in this orientation. Next, let's create the hinge. Create a new body, name it, then create a new sketch. Create a rectangle with the same height dimensions as the previous part. Close and extrude the part. Roughly align the two parts. Create another sketch and find the center point of the body. Create a circle, close the sketch and make a hole. If you make a mistake like I have, simply reopen the sketch and edit it. Create a new sketch on the closest face. Get the circle's external projection and create a square from the circle's center point. Create a hole with a depth of 2mm. Create the sketch for the foot, dimension the rectangle and extrude it. Create a new sketch with a hexagon for the bolt. Create an offset for the nut to fit from the top of the foot. Create a sketch with a circle. Create the hole for the bolt. Chamfer the corners to help with printing. Create a new body for the clamp. Create a rectangle, dimension it, and extrude it by the thickness required. On the top face, extrude a rectangle. Create a sketch on the side face, then a circle for a hole. This is where the connecting bolt will fit. Create a rectangle and extrude it for the bottom part of the clamp. Create an internal sketch with the innermost projections. Create a hole to remove the back material. Create the sketch with a circle and a cutout to the bottom of the clamp. Remove the unwanted lines and cut a hole through all. Create one last sketch and hole for a 3mm bolt to tighten the clamp if needed. Chamfer all the corners. Create a new body and sketch on the XY plane. Create a circle and extrude it to the height of the nut you are using. Position it, then create a new sketch on the closest face. Create a circle the width of the bolt being used and cut the hole. Create a new sketch and get the previous circle's extents. Create a hexagon from the center point and cut it the height of the bolt. On the top face, create a sketch with a single circle at the edge of the main body. Extrude to the face of the back of the body. Select the last extrusion and create a polar instance. This will create a ring of extruded circles around the edge of the body. Duplicate the body and create 2 more thumb screws with the dimensions required for the other 2 nuts. Export all the step files. We are now ready to print. In Orca, arrange all the parts and send them to the printer. I am printing everything in PETG to handle the heat of the LEDs. Once everything is printed, it is now time to put it all together. Cut and stick all the LEDs onto the holder. This will make it easier to solder. Solder each LED strip in series, positive to positive and negative to negative. Press the nuts into the thumb screws and insert the bolts into their respective holes. With everything complete and tightened, clip the stand onto your printer and wire it up to the correct voltage. You now should have a LED light box installed and ready to go. Thanks for watching.